Hello, Year 8, and welcome back for the first week after half term. I hope you've had a really great week and enjoyed some of the sunshine and spent some really great time with your families. This has been a really exciting week in the history of spaceflight. At the weekend, we saw the first manned US launch of a rocket in over a decade. There's been many other launches from the United States in the last 10 years, but this is the first one that's had people inside it go up to the International Space Station. The space program stopped in America 10 years ago with the space shuttle launches for various different reasons. And since then, we've been sending people up to the space station in rockets from other countries. And this has been quite exciting because this rocket has been built by a company called SpaceX. Previously, NASA have been building their own rockets. And because we're going up to the International Space Station, that leaves open some potential for future exciting missions. Currently, there's a date to go back to the moon in 2024. The last moon landing was in 1972, which is even before my living memory, so it'll be really exciting for us to go back. The moon landings at that time were very basic. The point of going up there was really to beat other countries to it. And all they really did was collect rock samples, do a few scientific experiments, just to prove that we could get there. Now the purpose of going back to the moon is more to colonize it and to spend more time up there and have a permanent human presence up there. Supposedly, the power of the computer that launched the Apollo 11 mission in the 1960s to get up to the moon was only as powerful as the calculator that you use in maths. Obviously, computers are a lot more powerful these days, and we should be able to get there with much more ease than we did all those decades ago. SpaceX then is its own private company. NASA is run by the Americans themselves. It's like one of their government departments. And instead of building their own rockets this time, they've asked SpaceX to build them for them. It's a company that's been going around for quite a while now, and it's owned by a man called Elon Musk, which is quite a strange name, but this guy is from South Africa, and he also owns a car company called Tesla, which make electric cars, mainly electric sports cars, really. And he made lots of money previously from setting up a company called PayPal, which you may have seen if you've ever bought something from eBay or off any website online, really, the ability to buy things without using cash or card. One of the most impressive things, though, about what SpaceX have managed to achieve, this was a couple of years ago now, was the ability to actually land a rocket back on the ground after it's launched. I've included that as a little GIF on this slide here. It's just unbelievable, really, the expense that it takes to launch a rocket into space. You can imagine how huge it is and how much fuel that's inside it. And then the parts of the rocket are just left up there in space, never to be used again. It's millions of dollars to build a rocket every time it launches. So why don't we just have the rocket actually land back on the floor again as the humans float back up to the space station when it's separated, so that we can use it again. Really, really incredible. And this little GIF at the bottom of the slide here was from a couple of years ago when this first was achieved. 2 rockets landing simultaneously without falling over after just launching people into space. Just like the Year 11s then a few weeks ago, the Year 13s would have been starting their A-level exams today. A-levels are those exams that you do for 2 years after you've done your 2 years of GCSE exams in Year 11. Most of them are for getting into university or for getting a job. Students will tend to do 3 or 4 A-levels instead of 10 or so GCSEs. Most students then, they won't be sitting them this year. Instead, schools are going to be looking at setting grades for them, just like they did for GCSEs. So if you've got any students that are in your household that are siblings, relatives that would have been sitting these exams this week, then please do have them in your thoughts, because their future is quite uncertain at the moment for what they're doing in September. I'm sure you've heard in the last few days that there's been a few more government announcements about how the lockdown might be lifted. We're starting to see a few more restrictions being lifted starting today. So there's the ability to visit a few more people. I think it's up to 6, something like that. And you can do so in your garden. You've got to be 2 metres apart, though. You can do that in a park, perhaps, as well. And we're going to start to see some more shops opening in the next few weeks as well. Please do continue to have a look at what the government announces in the next few weeks. It's quite exciting that stuff is starting to return back to normal, that we're starting to be able to see each other a little bit more again. But it's really important that we're still following all of those guidelines that are given to us as well. We need to keep washing our hands. We need to keep staying far apart from each other, that 2 meters distance, really limiting the amount of times that we see people too as well. I've also been sending you, since the start of the lockdown really, links to these Think to the Future sessions. Now, Think to the Future, as I'm sure you know, are a company that come into school once a week and they meet with students on a whole range of different topics. And they've been putting together various different YouTube clips for us to have a look at every week. This week, the sessions are about role models, as you can see on here, at Thursday, 12 o'clock. And also we've got some pressures of growing up as well on Friday at 3 o'clock. And these happen every single week, various different topics, really, really worth looking at. I'll continue to send out the links to them. You can see the link to their YouTube channel there if you want to stick some of these in your calendar as well. But it's really just to think about our mental well-being, our own personal health, while we are not managing to see each other as often. I hope you've enjoyed our assembly this morning. I'm really looking forward to seeing you all at some point very soon. I'm back in school this week, seeing a couple of Year 10 and Year 12 students. So if you do need anything, then please do just drop me an email.